Hello everyone, welcome to Jackie Does Stuff. I'm Jackie and I do stuff, and today I'm going to be making some sourdough discard English muffins. Check it out. Alright, so I've got I think everything that I need here. I've got my kitchen scale, I've got a bowl, I've got some salt. You know, this recipe calls for just like regular table salt, but I have all sorts of weird salts that I've picked up over the years, so I'm going to try that instead and see if it works. It might not, because, you know, all salt is not created equal, you know. I got some sugar, I got some baking soda, and this here is my sourdough starter. I've also got some measuring spoons. I got a 1/4 cup with the little slots on the side because it's going to be kind of like going to be pouring it, and a spoon for mixing. So I'm going to be using the recipe that I found on the King Arthur blog, King Arthur Flour. Big fan of King Arthur Flour around these parts. On their website they call it a crumpet recipe, but I'm just calling it an English muffin. Okay, so I stopped the camera by accident when I switched over to check the King Arthur website. I'll have to remember that in the future. But yeah, I'm just pouring out 1 cup of sourdough starter, which is 227 grams. So I'm keeping an eye on that on the scale. Come on. I'm pouring a little lightly because, oh, there we go. Kind of. Oh, a little more. And yeah, when you're weighing stuff, you do kind of want to be like, not just in the ballpark, but like on the field, you know? 122. Oh, that's a little bit more, but I can live with that. All right, and then we're going to put this sourdough starter aside. There's not a ton left in there, and that's because I only had a 1.5 cups, and I'm using a 1 cup, so that should be a 1/2 cup, so I will just feed that in a little bit. So here we have our starter, and now we're going to go ahead and add the other ingredients, but I'll check back in with you after I double check the recipe. Give me a second. Alright, I double checked, and I am going to need a teaspoon of sugar, which I want to put in first. The recipe says to put in the sugar and the salt first and then the baking soda. And the order is probably important because we're dealing with the chemistry of the acid of the sourdough starter. Yeah, that is 1 teaspoon. So if the sourdough starter is acidy, which it should be because it's unfed, so it's going to be at its like most acidic, then the baking soda, being basic, is going to react to it and is going to make it go like poof, puff up. So we're probably going to want the sugar and the salt to go in first so that it can be well mixed before we get to that point. And we're probably going to want to put the sugar first before the salt because because sugar feeds yeast. Oh, you can see some of the bubbles are already starting to form. Yeast eat sugar, so they're going to want that. And the salt is going to actually kill some of the yeast. So I'm trying to do it in that order to maybe kind of like bolster the yeast a little bit. Although maybe I don't need to do that actually, because I think that the baking soda will do all the rising without the help of the yeast. I don't know. So that's the sugar, and then the salt is going to call for a 1/4 cup. Or goodness gracious, no, a 1/4 teaspoon. I gotta put this down for a second. A 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon, and I'm gonna stick to the lower number for the moment. There we go. I'm gonna stick to the lower amount because this is kind of like a granular salt, so I don't know how it's going to compare. No, get out of here. That's Luna. Hi, Luna. Get out of my sourdough. I don't know how that's going to compare to regular salt, so I'm going to just, I'm going to take this over here is what I'm going to do. And that's Merlin, who desperately asked me to go outside just now, so that's why I had to turn the camera off. All right, so yeah, normally with the salt I would kind of just pinch it or something. Yeah, there's a 1/4. That's actually a little less than a 1/4. I'm going to start with that because we'll see what that is. Now this is like a rosemary sea salt that I got from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where they have like a whole store that's just about salt. It's probably the most hipster thing I've ever done. But honestly, big salt guy. Especially, salt just mixes very well with lots of herbs. So you can get salt blends that are just about any flavor profile you want. So this one happens to be a rosemary, right? Just like a smoked rosemary. Yeah. Rosemary infused sea salt. Yeah. I love rosemary. I love sea salt. What's not to love? Cool. Now at this point, we're going to add 3/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm going to use my 1/4 teaspoon, and I'll just do 1 and then 1/2 of that. Oh, hi Luna. Hello. Oh, I should cover this. And then also, that's for the salt. All right. I'm worried I might not have enough time for this, actually, because Merlin made me go outside. So it's like 7 in the morning, and I have something that I have to do. So I was hoping to do this a little quickly for breakfast, but I guess that they had other ideas. All right. I need to get a better container for the baking soda, because I'm kind of just trying to scoop it out of this, and that's not the most practical. I used to kind of take baking soda and put it in these smaller containers, but I just haven't done that in a little bit. I should get back to that. All right, so that's the 1/4 teaspoon, and then I'm gonna get knock out about 1/2 of that. That's about right. And we're gonna put that in there. All right, now I'm gonna give that a second and mix it up, and put this back over here. Hi, Luna. You gotta get off of there, sweetheart. Yeah, don't worry. I always clean off the counter once they've been on it. Don't worry. All right, so I have a cast iron skillet here. If you've never used one, highly recommend. This is just stuff from yesterday. I leave it, personally. Like, I don't mind, because I'm gonna heat it. So if there was anything dirty on there, that'll kill it. And also, like, all this extra fat on there is good for me, because the cast iron always needs to be re-seasoned anyway. So, you know, when you do that, you just put more fat on there anyway. So this has done the work for me. As it heats up, it's going to get liquid. I'm kind of just going to wipe it around and then throw out the paper towel that I use for that. And then that should be a pretty good seasoning. So we're going to wait for that to heat up. I've put it on 3 because that's like low medium. The last time that I made this, it was made it way too hot. I burned all of it. So I'm trying to learn from my mistakes. There we are. So we are mixing. We're mixing. And because I'm not using a whisk or anything, I'm going to mix for like a lot longer than I want. So it's already dissolved and everything, but I want to make sure that it's really, really well mixed in there. And we can see some of the bubbles starting to form. Oh, look, it's already starting to kind of get frothy. Like, it happens very, very quickly. See? Yeah, it's kind of like frothing up. That's crazy how fast that happened. But yeah, that's chemistry, baby. All right, I'm going to just go ahead and put this in the sink because, well, I actually usually put them up in there. But I like to put anything that I've touched sourdough with, I like to just put it in water because that stuff will stick to anything. All right, so I'm going to wait for this to heat up a little bit, and then I will come back for the next stage of our English muffins. All right, I'm back. So we've heated the skillet. It's gotten pretty hot. Heated up everything on there. I've given it a quick season, wiped everything down. And here's our lovely, bubbly, frothy batter. Now I've also gotten out, this is my 1/4 cup that I'm going to use to kind of scoop it in there. And now I guess for this, for this, I guess you're supposed to use like rings, like English muffin rings, but I don't have those. I do have these biscuit cutters that I have just like one set of. So I'm going to just take the biggest one, which I think is actually still not big enough for this recipe. I think it's supposed to be like 4 inches across. I'm not sure how big this is. It's pretty big though. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one. The recipe says you should be able to do like all 4. This should make 4 English muffins. all at a time, but I only have the one cutter, so I'm gonna have to do one at a time. So I might not actually finish this before I have to go, but that's okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just place this in there, and then I'm gonna take some butter and I'm gonna just cut a small piece and put it in the center. I think the recipe actually says to just kind of like butter the pan and then put the rings down, but in my the last time that I did this, the batter stuck really bad to the ring, so this is my way of trying to make it not do that. Arg! All right, I gotta put you down again. Yeah, I'm just cutting a piece of butter right now, but apparently I need to wrestle it out of the paper with two hands. There we go. Luna jump scare! Yeah, I'm very lucky in that they like to kind of hang out with me, but I'm not very lucky because I gotta clean up after them everywhere they go. Arg. All right, so I'm gonna just take a piece and pop it in there, and I'm actually gonna take that whole piece that I cut and put it in there. Now let it melt in the ring, and then I'm going to take my quarter cup. This has just got some flour on it because I just fed my sourdough starter, and I'm gonna just scoop up, let it drip a little, and then I'm gonna pour that in there. And that's it. So we're now gonna kind of cook it for a couple of minutes on each side. Yeah, we're gonna do like a full 4 minutes, 3 minutes on both sides. So that's part of why I messed this up last time, is because I was used to cooking, when you make tortillas, you cook it hot and fast, and this is low and slow, and so this is like totally different than what I was used to. So I will go ahead and cook this for a couple of minutes, and I'll catch you on the other side. All right, so our timer is almost up, and looks like we're almost done. That's great. That already looks better than last time. Oh dang, I knew I forgot some. Oh, okay. So I'm going to lift the ring with a pair of kitchen tongs, because normally I would just grab it with my fingers, but I'm a big old dummy, so don't do that. And oh, fabulous. That's fabulous. This is already so much better than last time. All right, and then I'm gonna take a flipper, what I would normally call a spatula, but which is apparently called a food turner. Who knew? All right, and then we're gonna flip it. Oh goodness. Okay, so that is a little darker than I would like, but I mean, no doubt about it, it's done and it's not burned either. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put 3 minutes on the timer. 3 minutes. All right, and then I will flip it. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of scooch this bad boy over, and then put, oh no, I can't do that because of the timer. Ah, that's why I didn't do it. All right, and we're back, and so is that jackhammer outside my window, and the timer's just gone off. All right, stop. There we go. And let's have a look. Oh, it's a little flat, so maybe the temperature is not right, but it's definitely a lot better than last time. Oh, that's fabulous. Look at that. All right, so we are going to just go ahead and move her over to here. Yeah, and then I'm going to do a trick that my partner taught me, because he's much better at this than I am. And I'm going to, oh gosh, where do I put this so that Luna doesn't try to get into it? All right, so we're going to turn the burner off, and then, get out of there. And then we are going to, stop trying to eat my butter, you weirdo. Thank you. And then I'm going to take the whole pan and bring it over here so that it has a chance to cool down. The burner will cool down, the pan will cool down, but not too much, because we still want it to be hot, of course. But in order to maintain that low and medium heat, we got to cool it down every so often. So I'm picking it up, letting the bottom be exposed. All right. And then we'll put it back on. Right, now I'm going to go ahead and make the other three. But yeah, I always put the done one over here into the toaster oven just to stay a little bit warm. But yeah, this one already came out so much better than the whole last time that I made these. And every time that I do it, all three or all four of them, they continue to get better and better as we go along. So thank you so much for watching as I make the sourdough discard English muffin King Arthur crumpets. Thank you for joining me. I, of course, am not going to be able to finish these before I have to go to my thing. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.